Hey everyone, it's Ajaxer. I just wanted to show you guys what you'll be able to make at the end of this video. So we moved the cube that we were jumping on above a little so we could test our crouching, right? So now I can crouch and I can move while I'm crouching, and I can walk and then crouch, and then it handles all that, and then I can go under objects and stand back up, and I'll collide, and then when I get out from below them, I'll be good. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to click subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell if you enjoy this type of content, if you enjoy this tutorial series, and so that you guys can get notifications about more episodes. So thank you so much. Hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, it's Ajaxer here. Welcome back to episode 3 of the How to Make Valorant in Unity tutorial series. Today we're going to be working on crouching. We're going to try to make it as smooth as possible. I know there's a lot of tutorials out there on crouching, but they kind of snap your dude, and in Valorant there's like a smooth transition. So let's get started. It's pretty much all code, right? The only thing that we should do right now is go to our scene, and this cube, just lift it up, because eventually throughout the tutorial we'll be making sure that when we crouch we can't go through this object. We'll get to that later. And then also on our player, let's just delete the box collider, and then let's also delete the mesh renderer and the cube. We don't really need those things. It's just to show where our player is. So yeah. Okay, cool. And then if we hit play, everything is good, right? Like, we're still colliding because we have a collider that comes along with the character controller. So I can't move through this wall still. Alright, let's get to coding. So let's open up the player controller in Visual Studio, and let's start by making a public bool. Public bool is crouching, and then I get private set equals false. Okay, and let's say in our handle movement function, where we just get the input and stuff like that, let's say is crouching equals input.get key code, right? We want to get the key because we crouch as we hold is it control, right? Left control. Okay, and then so we have this if is walking, else is, and we're doing this movement speed, walking movement speed times running movement speed. Now we'll have a crouching movement speed, which is generally slower than walking movement speed. So let's make another statement. So let's just say else if is crouching, else, right? And let's just say character controller dot movement vector times player stats dot crouching movement speed, which is something that we'll make, times time dot delta time. And let's actually put this is crouching check at the top, because right now the way this is set up, you'd be, if you were holding shift and control, like you were crouching but you're holding shift, you'd actually speed up. So let's move this to the top. So else if, and then we can just move this guy, oh, right here, else if, and then let's just whoop. Okay, else if is walking. Okay, so let's go to our player stats class that we made last episode, and let's add a public float crouching movement speed, get private set, and I just set this to 2. Feels okay. So now if we just go back to Unity and we just confirm that our movement speed is being affected when we hold down crouch. So let's see. So I'm running, walking, crouching. And when I hold shift and control at the same time, I'm still crouching, or I'm moving at the crouching speed. So that all works. So let's go back into Visual Studio and let's create two functions. So at the top here, I say if is crouching, and I'll say handle crouch, and then else handle stand. Okay. So let's create a handle crouch function, handle crouch, and a handle stand function. Okay, let's work on the crouching first because it's a little easier. So if character controller, dot height is less than player stats dot crouch height y, or is greater than, right? So this means well, okay, so how are we gonna crouch? We're gonna just decrease the size of our character controller height, and we're going, and when we stand, we're gonna increase it. So in player stats, we need to create a couple more variables. At what height is crouching, right? Like how small do we make the character controller when we crouch? At what height is standing, so that we can go back up to it. So let's go into, let's just make go into our player stats class, and let's start working on some of the stuff that we need for crouching specifically. So we have a public float crouch height y, right? So I did 0.5f. Then we have a public float, public float standing height y, and mine is 2f. And then I have a crouch speed, so how fast do we go into crouch and how fast do we get out of crouch, right? Like how fast are we moving down and moving back up? And I think that's all the variables that we need in our player stats class. And then let's just give these guys the get private set. Alright. So let's go back to our player controller, go back down to handle crouch, and let's start working on the functionality. So I'm going to do this character controller dot height. So we're checking if we are standing right now, or if we're anything greater than crouching, right? Like we're in a transition, right? So we want to make the transition smooth, so we'll lerp it. So equals vector through, or mathf dot lerp character controller dot height, new height, player stats dot crouch speed times time dot delta time, and new height is going to be player stats dot crouch height y. Okay, so we have that, and there's also, okay, so let's go back to Unity. Let's see if that actually works, right? So when we crouch, right? We're not able to stand back up again, but we're crouching right now. We decrease the height, so that works, right? If we go to here and we open up our character controller, you'll see that if you look at the height right here, we're actually affecting this. And I noticed that this lerp function, we never really hit 0.5, so if we go back to our player controller, I put a check in here to just be like, if character controller height minus 0.05f is less than or equal to player stats dot crouch height y, then let's just set it to controller height dot equals player stats crouch height y. Okay, so now if we go back to Unity, and look at our character controller height, it snaps to 0.5 after, you know, if we're within 0.05 of at least 0.05 or 0.05, then we just snap it to the crouch height Y. So in our handle stand function, we're actually just going to be doing a similar thing. Instead of lerping down to the crouch height, we'll be lerping back up to the standing height. So to avoid redundancy in our code, we'll make a new function to do this lerping stuff. So we'll say void and just say update character height. Okay, and then we'll have a float. And let's just call it new height. And then what we can do is just get what we did in the handle crouch function with this lerp, just cut, paste it in here, and then instead of using the crouch height Y, we are lerping to the, whoops, not this function, the update character height function. We are passing in the new height. Okay. And then in our crouch function, let's call update character height, and then let's just say player stats dot crouch height Y. Okay, so there's our crouching. This so let's work on standing back up. Okay, so let's start off by just if character controller dot height is less than player stats dot standing height Y, then let's open that up. So if we are anything below standing height, let's try to run this functionality, right? We're trying to stand up now, and I know we said our standing height in our player stats was 2F, so let's go back into Unity and our character controller and change it to 2, right? Is that instead, and then change the scale to 1, so because we did that. So then it should look the same, but the height value should be different in our scale for our transform is different. So let's go back to Visual Studio and let's stand back up. So all we have to do is just say update character height to player stats dot standing height Y. And so as we grow our character controller, right? We're pretty much growing our character controller. And we're doing it around the center of our character controller. Gravity is pushing us down, so it causes this jittery effect, which I can't exactly get it completely smooth. So if anyone has any suggestions, it'd be much appreciated. But it feels, you know, like we're getting there, or we're getting really close to a good standing feeling. So character controller dot height 0 equals player stats dot standing height Y. Here we're just doing the same thing that we did here. We're just snapping it to the standing height because when we're lerping, it doesn't always you know, get to the final number. So character controller dot height equals player stats dot standing height Y. And then here we say transform dot position plus equals new vector 3 0 character controller height minus last height, which we'll create, divided by 2 and then 0. Okay, and last height is just going to be at the top of our if statement. Just say last height equals character controller dot height. So we're saving our character controller dot height, and as we grow, we're moving our position so that it feels like gravity isn't affecting us, right? But this doesn't work 100%, you know. So anyways, let's go back in to Valorant tutorial Unity and let's hit play. And so we go like this, and when we let go, we can see that we are back and standing up, and we can also move while we're doing it, right? So now we have crouching. One thing though is that if we stand up, we are now stuck inside this cube, right? So we need a way to detect if things are above us, and if we can, you know, and so if I do this, my height still goes to 2 on my character controller, right? But I'm stuck inside this cube. So let's go back into player controller and let's handle that. So what I'm doing is we're just gonna send a raycast up above our head when we're trying to stand and see if we're colliding with anything, and then we're just gonna increase our height up to that distance so that it's like we're bumping into the cube. So let's say raycast hit in our handle stand function, raycast hit, and then if physics dot raycast, and then transform position, transform dot up, out hit, and player stats dot standing height y. Okay, so we are making a raycast on our toward the y on the y-axis, right above our transform, like our player, and the distance of it is what our standing height is. So if we're hitting anything, that means that we're hitting something before we can get to our standing height. So we are actually, if hit distance is less than player stats dot standing height y minus player stats dot crouch height y, and then we should say update character height player stats dot crouch height y plus hit dot distance. So here we're saying let's update the character height to the crouch height, which is whatever it is, plus the distance between our player's head and the object above us, so we're not going right through, and then just return right here so we don't carry on with the other logic. Else we can say update character height. Okay, there we go. And so now if we go back into Unity, we can see that if I go like this and you see my height, and I can still move around under it, right? Let me go outside. Oh, wait. Nope. Let's see. Hit that distance, update character height. Oh, okay. So we need to add, so what was going on is I go under this cube, right? And I collide with it up top, and then I leave it, and I should then stand back up, which is not happening. And it's because we are not hitting this raycast anymore. So else, we just need to add else update character height player stats dot standing height y. And now if we go back into Valorant tutorial, let's click this, crouching, and now we're standing. And so that's how you crouch and how you stand, and we got it. So we got a functioning thing going. For some reason I can't jump right now. I think we hooked that up, right? Let's see, if I click play, so I can't jump right now. Okay, well, let me figure that out. Hey, sorry about that. We found the issue. It was our Y for our ground check is not actually at the bottom of our model anymore. So let's go here, and we can just say -1 on our Y position for our ground check, and let's hit play. So now we can jump, we can crouch. Let's see. Oops. So yeah, and then we can still jump. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yep, we are crouching right now. The only thing is we still have this jitteriness. I'm not entirely sure how we should go about fixing it. Maybe we'll go fix it in a polish phase, or we definitely will be fixing it in a polish phase because it doesn't look as good if you're standing still. So, but it's functional and it works, and we obviously understand the intention. We can see how we are able to crouch, and we see how we are able to crouch under objects. Okay, so thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, please subscribe if you like this type of content, if you like this tutorial series. Also click on the bell to get more notifications about this tutorial. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed.